You talked about your dad being pure.
Yeah.
If future generations are listening to this and they're stuck at a spot and they don't know how to move forward, what can they know or learn from that idea of purity?
Of purity, I think that it's a core values based understanding. My dad never talked about core values. He just had ground rules. He always he once had wrote an editorial in his paper about the Lee-May, I think it was Lee-May or Afton Fire Department, and they firebombed his office. This was when I was a little kid, maybe 8 or 9, and it was scary for him, very scary. They did not like what he said. It was a different era back then. Okay. And so, that was an example of doing the right thing. I always felt like I think he did the right thing sometimes the wrong way because he was stubborn about it. And I used to always say if he had brothers, he would have understood how to compromise a little bit or understand how to, it's not always about what you think. But he was very clear in the values. That's when I think of pure, he's just always centered on other people winning. He's got flaws. That generation has certainly some of them, but I never hear him. I always wish when I was a kid that what he said about other people, he would say about me. That was the hard part for me.
Wow.
Because a lot of my buddies will say, God, we loved your dad. He was always built us up. He always helped it. But I said, you didn't live with him. Growing up, that was the hard part for me. And of course, when you're a kid, you don't have a choice. And I chose not to fight. I chose to swallow until later on, and when I just had so many different problems with that I had to finally address them with him. Good news is it took a while, but he got it. And that was a cool thing.
When your boys are one day fathers, what do you hope they know about fatherhood?
Well, that you get one shot at it, but that you can make adjustments. And that you will regret some things. But if you stick to foundational things that matter, that it helps. And you can't control everything that happens. You can just adjust. You can just stay present, and be there for kids. I think, again, value of all the parenting that I've seen, on both sides, women and spouses, and is that I think that where my folks did a really nice job there was being dedicated to it, like it's a responsibility. My two boys, my younger boys, were in New York, and my brother Dave came in. And my brother Dave is larger than life guy. All my sibs have this larger than life type quality, but Dave is just another level. And he was holding court in this bar in New York City, and my boys were maybe 10 and 13 or something like that, and I can remember looking at me because he's just cutting up, and they're laughing at him, and they said, Dad, how come you're not more like Uncle Dave? And without even hesitating, I said, it's because I'm your dad, and I have a responsibility and a role to play. There will be a day I'll be more like Uncle Dave. It's not now. And that, I think, is what parenting is. I mean, by design, I think there has to be a boundary. And I think parents nowadays are struggling with this because they want to be so much a friend to their kids. And the kid then loses a little bit of their bearings on this. Okay. I think generationally ago, when people all lived in the same communities, uncles probably took over from about the time 13 to 20 and sent the message for the parent, right? And because everybody lives everywhere now, we live in different places and whatnot, I think there's been an element of that lost. So you don't have that option. And we moved away, so we are an example of that. But I don't know, that's one you talked about regret earlier with what would I have done differently as a parent? That I wouldn't have done differently. I was a parent, not a friend to my kids. And I think that now, I am working, I don't want to say working toward getting it back, but I'm definitely more comfortable in that role of not judging. That's the difference between what I did with my kids versus I think what my dad did with me. Is I don't judge them on things. I ask them what they think. I say, that sounds pretty good to me. Do you want my thoughts on it? Things that I've learned from listening and learned from leadership.